What's going on, guys? D-pad first. Welcome back, and in this video, we're gonna talk some PUBG.
Oh, what happened?
What the fuck, you fucking table piece
There's
of
another
shit?
one coming. Another one. What the fuck? Holy shit! What were you doing, dude?
You know what, Chris? I don't know what. Like, my gun disappeared. Like, it was fucked.
So PUBG is definitely one of those games that I wasn't expecting to play or talk about on the channel for a very long time. At the earliest, sometime next year, and possibly even the year after that, to a point where the developer felt confident enough in their product to bring it out of early access. The experience to their liking was polished enough, and then I would have gave it a chance. I would have given them some money, and if I didn't like it after the first hour or so, hey, that Steam refund is really nice. But shout out to Korbel. He's on my Steam friends list. He's a fan of the channel. I'm sitting there in Discord talking to someone about The Division, Ubisoft's The Division. I don't remember the exact discussion, and out of nowhere, see that little pop-up come up on Steam. Korbel has sent you a gift. So I click on it, and it's PUBG, and I'm just like, wow, you know, I don't even know if he had any idea that I just had just a little bit of interest in the game. So he sent it to me out of nowhere. I didn't ask for it. I've never asked for anything that anyone's ever gifted me on Steam. So for Korbel and anyone else, you know, I probably don't say this enough. Some of you guys probably don't want me to say it and feel like I don't have to, but thank you. You know, I really do appreciate it. And I don't think I say stuff like that enough when it comes to just being appreciative for things that, you know, loyal fans or people that I've established friendships with do for me. So again, thank you guys very much. We should probably get the good stuff out of the way first, because I don't have a ton of bad things to say about the game. It wasn't like I didn't buy the game early on because I thought, oh man, this is going to be the worst gameplay ever, the worst game ever. I'm going to hate this game. It's a completely different reason, a reason that still exists, even though I'm still having a lot of fun. So I think the game plays really well. I like those open world sandbox type of experiences. You guys know that. I'm about to review one on the channel, and you'll see more about that in another video. But the looting, the shooting, it all feels really good. The animations, I think for an early access game, are really solid. I'm into that. Like, stuff like that is right up my alley. That shoot and loot stuff, you know, going from building to building, and that risk versus reward. Like, you might come to like 3 or 4 different houses that are all bunched together, and there's not much there for you. You know, it's like that special feeling of leveling up in an RPG or something. Like, just, you know, keep stacking and stacking your gear or attachments on your weapons, and you might have those 3 or 4 houses that give nothing or very little, but then like 2 miles down the road, there's some really good stuff in there, but there's like 4 other players headed in that same direction, and maybe you don't know that yet, but that's what makes it so intense. And it really gets intense, and I think where the game is at its best when there's like 25, 30 players left and everything's shrinking down. That's when it gets really intense. Running across a field or something, and you're like, man, should I make this run? Should I go prone? Should I do anything? Should I just risk it and stay here for just a little bit longer? Like, it's that risk versus reward, and I think that makes the game more appealing than anything else. You gotta play with friends, though. You gotta play with friends. The first thing I did playing with 1 or 2 friends was mute. I muted everyone that was in the lobby. I put that setting to mute all, or whatever it's called, because here's what happened. My very first game, within the first 20 seconds, there were 3 white kids yelling back and forth to each other, calling each other the N-word, and that's not with an A on the end, that's with an ER on the end. So try and keep that in mind. Like, these toxic communities, I just don't want to deal with it, and the only people I really need to hear anyway are the people in my squad, so it's important. The bad things with PUBG right now, in my opinion, one really big one and maybe 1 or 2 minor ones. performance. Performance is everything to me. It's everything to a lot of PC gamers, and even those with monster rigs are struggling to run this game maxed out at acceptable frame rates. I have friends that I've played with that definitely have better PCs than I do, still struggling. They have to play on low and medium settings to get good frame rates, and even then, there's still stutters and things like that that happen within the game. It's all about optimizing and just polishing the experience, and I think once they do that, even if nothing else changes, this will be a game that I never uninstall. You know, it will always be installed on my machine because it is that fun. It can be that intense, but the performance and the stuttering has definitely cost me my life a few times. You know, it's one of those, I know some people will be like, hey, get good, man. It's not like I'm a scrub. Like my third or fourth game, I had 7 or 8 kills. You know, it's not like every game you're not going to play well. You know, you might get owned in the first few minutes or something. Sometimes you just land in a really bad spot or a really populated spot. Things like that happen, but the performance should not be the reason that I die, and it has been quite a few times now. You know, it's not that it takes me completely out of the experience or that it's completely ruined the game for me. I'm just saying it's something that should be a focus. It should be a priority in every update that they do for this game. It shouldn't be about, you know, loot boxes and cosmetics. That should be something that comes after the game is out of early access. So if you're going to throw that early access excuse at me, first of all, I have early access games. Some of them were very polished from the jump, others not so much. So I understand the early access excuse. I understand the early access damage control. All I'm saying is I want them to fix those issues, the performance issues in the game. Maybe 1 or 2 minor things that I think they could really work on outside of the performance is, it's just little things like, you know, standing next to a fence that's maybe 2.5, 3 feet off the ground. And the game seems a little bit momentum based. So unless you're doing like a running jump or a running crouch jump or, you know, a decent distance away from that fence or whatever that object is, you can't just, a lot of times you can't just stand and jump over some of that stuff, and I find that to be annoying. Just make an animation that allows me to put one leg over and then the other. You know, if there's a fence that's like, you know, 7, 8, 9 feet tall or something, make an animation that allows me to jump up and grab the top of that and then climb over. It's little things like that that could just be annoying at times. Again, those are minor complaints. They can worry about that stuff way later. As far as I'm concerned, just make it a more polished experience in terms of the performance. And then we can do gameplay mechanics, you know, some other time. I just want to be able to run the game without stutters or, you know, huge frame rate drops. And I think a lot of PC gamers probably have the same mindset. So that's PUBG. Those are my thoughts. Initial impressions. I may review the game at some point. I probably won't until it's out of early access, and it's hard to say for sure when that will be. But to the developers, to you guys, you know, I just want a more polished game. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I don't have too many complaints. So early access or not, we just need to, you know, focus on things that aren't loot boxes, in my opinion, as the player. So the community and their voice should be the most important thing, and hopefully the developers are, you know, making note of that. So that's the video. That's my take. Thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you for the continued support. And have you played PUBG? Let me know in the comment section. Do you plan to play it? And thanks a lot, guys. Take it easy. Peace.